I think that power at its most ultimate expression is murder, right? So whether it's a cult that sacrifices people after kidnapping them, they want to exercise this extreme level of power, right? Why else would you want to murder someone but to express power? There can be multiple motivations for murder, but ultimately, one of the things that it is power over someone. To take someone's life would be to exercise extreme power. So whether we're talking about cults that kill, governments that kill, right? To declare war is mass murder, right? It's an expression of the highest level of power. To be able to declare war, you have to be in a top leadership position, if not the top. So the top position is less than 1% of a population. And within that position, you have all levels of things you are enabled to do because of your power. All kinds of abuses, right? You can mistreat people, you can fire them, you can humiliate them, you can rape them. But the highest level of power ultimately is murder. So whether it's declaring war or orchestrating 9/11, September 11th, 2001, which I believe was an inside job by the U.S. I believe that Dick Cheney, who was the vice president at the time, was the ultimate decider and orchestrator. And what fun is power if you can't exercise its highest degree of power, which is taking people's lives? So not only did it kill thousands of people in the World Trade Center, but it triggered the war in Iraq, where the military then went into Iraq and murdered all kinds of people, millions. Then Afghanistan, etc., and killed all kinds of people. And if you're going to kill one person, well, that's a certain level of power. But if you kill 100, that's more. You've exercised more power. If you kill 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000, the volume of people that you murder is just an increase of the expression of your power. A serial killer is exercising power. Whatever murder it is, it's the highest level of power. And people who feel powerless, perhaps, who maybe were damaged young and suffered a great deal of pain, more than the average person, feel as if those that were in power over them basically murdered their soul, their emotions, their identity, their sense of self. And in retaliation, this pain manifests itself in the greatest expression of power by killing someone or multiple people. So oftentimes people who murder are expressing their pain, but you oftentimes get people who came from good homes, neighborhoods, went to good schools, and climbed ladders, political ladders, corporate ladders, especially if you just get rid of someone who's a threat, right? Someone who's a threat to you, either in the corporate world, in the workplace. You oftentimes will hire someone to do the killing for you so that you can't be found out, right? And that's how the highest level of government officials get away with murder, is by hiring people to kill, and therefore the exhilaration of the highest level of power. If you drug someone's drink and they die, that's an expression of power. Ultimately, yes, once again, there are many reasons why murder occurs. But there is a category of murder that is perpetrated by people in power for the mere expression of power, sending a message to other people in the same positions of power to not mess with them. And there must be some satisfaction that comes from exercising that highest level of power. There must be some sort of gratification. Because once you have everything, if you're in a high level where you have the opportunity to kill, that implies you've got the wealth, you've got the houses, you've got the vacations, you can buy any food or wine that you want, etc. You've probably engaged in all kinds of sexual pleasures. You've had every different type of pleasure. What's remaining is killing someone. So even when you get Hollywood celebrities that we may suspect of being behind murders, whether it's Charlie Manson, he wasn't a celebrity, but because there are suggestions that people who are celebrities have gotten away with murder as well. Once you've got all this adulation and celebrity and fame, well, let's go to the next step. Let's kill someone and exercise this level of power that we've got, right? What fun would it be to just have power and not exercise the highest level of it? So you've got Stalin, Lenin, Hitler. Hitler just has an insatiable hunger for murder. Say what you will about everything else that he did. But obviously one of his objectives was to kill as many people as possible, right? Death camps, concentration camps, the Western Front, the Eastern Front. Even knowing on some level, intuitively, Hitler must have known he couldn't have conquered the world. But what overrode that was the lust for murder and the exercise of the highest level of power while he was in power, to the point where he ultimately kills his wife and himself in the end. And it's not like he did it for the pride of Germany, because thousands, if not millions, of Germans were killed. So there's always a stated reason and a pretense. I'm doing this for the nation. I'm doing it to protect people. I'm doing it to defend. I'm doing it to spread an ideology, a democracy, a freedom, etc., to increase land, to access resources. Those are all stated reasons, but one of the motivations to kill, obviously, because it is the expression of power. History is littered with murder, right? It's littered with war. War has been with us from the beginning, and it will continue, because when people get to high levels of power, it's like, oh goody, what? I just push this button, or I can just order this military into battle. I can kill people, and I can have my people killed. There's some sort of sick psychology that may not have existed. It may not have even been pre-existing. But where you have power on earth, in humanity, amongst humans, you have the desire to express the highest level of power, which is murder. So look at war and murder through that lens, because it's part of the fact that individuals who kill obviously want to. And if they're in a position to do it, that presumes a leadership position. So that would be one of the motivations for people to get into power. Some people are motivated so that one day, if they reach a certain level, they have license to kill, and it's legal, right? Governments can kill, and it's legal. Cops can kill, and it's legal. There's certain people in our society, whether it's CIA, FBI, law enforcement, that are given weapons and even urged to kill. We are always, in the Western world, we are taking out threats, and there must be some sort of satisfaction or enjoyment in that. Because if you didn't want to be in a position to have to make a decision to kill, why would you climb the ladder, the political ladder, to be in a position to make decisions to kill people? So part of your motivation is to achieve that position where you have the power to kill. And if you're uncomfortable with killing, then you wouldn't even be close to that position. You wouldn't be in that business. You wouldn't be in that line of work where you know if you continue to ascend, you get to have the decision to kill people. So whether it's JFK, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, many of these murders, including Charlie Kirk, the person who shot at Trump, are shrouded in mystery, and we will never find out who. Therefore, there is a machine, some call it the deep state, but there's definitely all kinds of people who are hired to murder, who are motivated to murder. And even if they're lowlifes, if they're operating in a sort of a middle, like not in ultimate power, they get the job to be able to exercise that license to kill. And when they do, they get to feel as if, wow, I have power because I took someone's life. During the pandemic, there was instituted a vaccine, and there were injuries which killed people. The people who set the laws to not only allow an untested, unsafe, and ineffective vaccine to come to market, but encourage it and pressure people to take it under threats of losing your job or business, those people were all part of the machine to kill. Even if it was unintentional, because they had the best interest. There were people who knew that there was going to be vaccine injuries, which means deaths, and there was people who were part of it and complicit that maybe didn't know. But have they come forth and apologized and said, hey, I was part of that and I was wrong? No. And maybe part of them feels this exhilaration of power because they were part of a system that allowed them to kill people. We have medically assisted suicide. We have people getting their kicks, I think, off being able to take someone's life. We have abortion. Abortion could be deemed a form of life ending. Do people have a natural tendency to want to kill? Do they feel so powerless and worthless that they get some sick satisfaction from killing? Is it part of human nature that we are driven to kill because we need to feel that sense of power as retaliation for maybe the abuses we perceive that we've experienced? In an abusive society where you feel like you're being oppressed, maybe your only retaliation is violence and to take someone's life. And if you can't do that legally, maybe you are motivated to get into a line of work or get into a position where you can get away with that level of power expression. So, that's the contemplation for today. Will war ever stop? No. Because there'll always be people in positions of power who are not quite satisfied with just ruling over people. They need to express the highest level of power over another individual, group, or people. And they need to murder. Is it male ego? Is it ego gratification? Is it simply, is it bravado? Is it masochism? Is it intimidation? Whatever it is, it's rooted in insecurity. Because if you feel like you're not quite satisfied until you kill someone, there is an inadequacy and an insecurity in you. Now, of course, murder and defense, you've been attacked by an enemy. Yeah, of course, you can justify those kinds of murders as well. But the people that make those decisions are in those positions, almost waiting to be attacked. So that's the contemplation for today. Will murder ever end? No, because we will always have insecure people who will take advantage of the opportunity to abuse power. I mean, the abuses of power materialize in all kinds of ways. Firing people that you shouldn't, talking smack, tattletaling on someone, humiliating someone in a meeting, etc., hurting someone verbally, hurting someone physically. But ultimately, why men and women kill is partly rooted in their need and drive to express the highest level of power.